The Maryland Office of People's Counsel has expressed concerns related to the power line project called the MPRP. They do not take a position on the project. The president of this group, the Office of People's Counsel, David Lapp, says they do have some concerns.
We are concerned and have raised numerous concerns about some of the processes that have led to the Piedmont project.
Yeah, and some of those concerns have to do with the costs that we are going to be, or those, well, first, those are going to be whose land and property are going to be taken, and secondly, to the taxpayers and the ratepayers.
A lot of these costs are going to be incurred by residential utility customers, and they aren't necessarily the ones who are going to be benefiting from those investments, and so we're very concerned about that.
Yeah, the proposed transmission line, 70 miles long, 500 million watts or whatever, would cut through the Baltimore, Frederick, and Carroll counties. In a spokesperson from PJM, that's the group that manages and does the auction of the electric availability throughout the grid. Quote, throughout the country, demand for electricity is growing. In the PJM region, electricity demand expected to increase by nearly 40% by the year 2039. The new demand is from the electrification of vehicles and buildings, manufacturing increases, and data centers in Illinois, Ohio, Virginia, New Jersey, Maryland, and other places. In addition to demand growth, there's been an acceleration of generating plants that are retiring and closing throughout the PJM footprint. In Maryland, specifically, 14 units have retired or announced retirement. Here is Jason Caldwell, project director for PSEG. That's a company working to get the transmission line up and running.
PJM identified 7,500 megawatts of load growth. Part of that load growth is data centers. To be clear, there's also a lot of generation retirements, 11,000 megawatts. So, I mean, you can't look at it at one piece separate. There's actually more generation retirements than load growth.
But David Lapp of the Office of People's Counsel disputes that any of these costs are due to retiring coal plants.
I want to be clear that these upgrades, contrary, I think, to what PSE&G may have told you, are not really related to the retirements of coal plants in Maryland. These transmission upgrades are for data centers and for the load growth that's anticipated as a result of data centers. Massive load growth.
Yeah, well, there's a separate thing, and I'll tell you why he said that to come up in just a second. But he said the customers, not just the people whose property is going to be taken, but those who are customers of electrical BG&E in this area, maybe Pepco in D.C., maybe Delmarva on the Eastern Shore, we're going to be ones footing the bill for this thing.
In our view, PJM does not respond to customer interests in the way that it responds to the interest of the utilities, the transmission owners, and the generation companies. Customers seem to be an afterthought for PJM.
Now, why am I not surprised? I mean, why? I mean, in the world of the corporate globalist World Economic Forum pecking order, remember, you will own nothing and you will be happy. So don't worry, be happy.
Good morning, Sean. I'd like to go back to your conversation before the 8:30 news regarding PJM and prices that consumers in Maryland are going to pay. And this is directly laid at the feet of our governor and our House Speaker and President of the Senate, who push these progressive ideas that Maryland can electrify and provide enough electricity to its citizens via wind, solar, and battery storage. That's not the case. We're already importing 42% of our electricity, mostly from Pennsylvania. And we're going to continue to import. The Brandon Shores and Wagner closure, that project alone is what you were referring to with the electric increase that people in BGE, Pepco, and Delmarva are going to pay. That's just that project alone.
Right. Because
of the reliability must run tariff that customers will pay until the transmission is built here in Harford County and down into Baltimore County to replace the electricity that those closures will bring. And we'll also pay for the cost of those transmission upgrades. All PJM customers, 65 million, pay half of those costs, and the other 50%, the DFAX cost, will be shared amongst the folks, the ratepayers that will benefit the most. So you'll get the tariff, but you'll also pay in your electric bill those costs for those upgrades. That's only one project. The PSEG project is part of a series of projects to be built in 4 states to the cost of about $5.2 billion that PJM approved last December 11th. And again, ratepayers will pay for those. There'll be projects here in Harford County on existing right-of-ways that Exxon owns. PJM has been, hell-bent on having a new pathway from Pennsylvania to cut straight through to that substation in Dobbs. It sits about 3 miles from the Virginia line, across the Potomac. And this PSEG project is just to supply data centers. That was stated in all the records, all the meetings that PJM have. And they expect people in the rural areas to fork over their land so that we can bring in more power from Pennsylvania. There's no reason we can't build natural gas generating plants here in Maryland. But the reason we can is because of the Climate Solutions Act of 2022 that Democrats rammed through the legislature. And of course, Governor Moore signed.
Right.
That's the problem. And this auction that now that our rates are going to jump double because PJM fell short in securing enough electricity in the BGE zone and in the Virginia Dominion Energy Zone. We don't know where that power is going to come from yet.
Yeah.
That auction was delayed because FERC and PJM were arguing about how the auction should take place. That auction should have happened 3 years ago, and then it would have been a signal to build generators, and then we wouldn't be in this mess that we're in now.
So what you're saying, Patty, really is this the RMR, which is to compensate for Brandon Shores and Wagner going offline, and that's gonna be for BGE customers $250 a year. We don't know what the rate is going to be for the power line project yet, the MPRP.
We don't. We know what FERC approved as far as the costs and the allocations, but we don't know the exact amount that will.
So what we can bank on is that our electric rates in the Baltimore Metro and elsewhere, Eastern Shore and down in DC, they are going to be skyrocketing in the next few years.
Correct. Yeah. And we're going to have more and more of these electricity extension cords that destroy people's livelihoods, their land. PSEG's Jason Calva says that, it's a right-of-way. Well, you own the land. They control what happens on that 150-foot right-of-way. You still have to pay the taxes on that right-of-way. What payment they give you for that right-of-way is up hidden, and it's in perpetuity. You'll have that attached to your deeds forever and ever and ever. And there's no reason to have this. We need to build natural gas generation. We have abundant natural gas pipelines in this state. Yeah.
Well, the other concept, and then I got to run. The other concept was reconductoring, which has been mentioned, where they would or retrofit or some of these tower power arrays to be able to hold or generate more megawatts of power. But
yes, that can be done.
That can be done, and it's cheaper, by the way, because you don't have to acquire land in order to do it. So that needs to be introduced in the whole conversation. Patty, excellent conversation. Thanks so much for calling in. Appreciate it. Take 22 minutes after the hour, and to add insult to injury, I just got a release from the Office of People's Counsel yesterday. They said many Maryland customers are facing an average annual electricity bill increase, hundreds of dollars in the coming years, because of the problems in the regional market run by PJM. The recent auction saw prices beginning next June for electric generation capacity. A historically small but soon-to-be large part of customer bills spikes more than 800% because of the retiring coal plants that we're just now hearing about. The Office of People's Counsel said customers are facing massive rate increases from potential retirements of old fossil fuel power plants, potential retirements that were entirely foreseeable and that PJM should have planned for. Customers will bear the brunt of PJM's planning failures and other dysfunctional market rules, while generation companies will walk away with record profits. End of quote. We'll tell you what your bill is going to go up to in just a moment. Now, to your electric rates, due to the retiring coal plants at the Brandon Shores and the Wagner power plants, they're being taken offline. We're now being told that your bill, and this is, I can't remember the PJM term for this, it's RMR, reliability of market run or regional market run or something like that. Anyway, the RMR cost, BGE customers, you can expect to pay an estimated 74% or roughly $159 million per year. That means your bill is going to go up significantly. And they're looking at about $21 a month. $250 per year starting June 2025. So starting, according to the Office of People's Counsel analysis, your bill beginning in June, if you're an electric customer, if you have electric, then your bill's going to go up by about $250 per year. And that's $21 a month. And at Pepco's up $18 a month. Delmarva Power, $15 a month. So everybody does get screwed. Okay? Is there a song about that? I think there is. So we're all going to get tattooed. Because why? Well, because fossil fuels are bad. Don't you know? Climate change. Thanks to the progressive Democrats in this state, they're now pounding us once again with exorbitant increases. And guess what? The folks at Talent Energy and Exelon Energy, they're going to be making lots of money. And not that I'm opposed to that, but again, I just think these are poor decisions. I'm not blaming the companies. I'm blaming the Democrat Party in this state for making it even more expensive to live in the state of Maryland. People can't retire here any longer, and the people that are stuck here between waiting to retire and leave are going to be taxed out the wazoo, and now your electric bill is going to go up $250 per year, and it's already a bad economy to begin with. Good morning, Dennis.
Yeah, I want to make this announcement to your listeners here, very important. I'm involved with Election Integrity Maryland, and I do other things for over a year now. The most important thing we can do is vote. And all the problems that we have, all the things you've been listening this morning can be ameliorated with the right people in office. If we can't vote, if we get the election stolen from us all the time, we lost our republic. People don't understand this. But I want to say to Republicans who are principled to a fault, too many are saying, no way am I voting before Election Day. It's not right. I'm voting Election Day. What you do by not voting early is you allow your name to be out there, vulnerable to be stolen. Once you vote early, you've mailed your name, you've canceled it for any kind of theft whatsoever. Get this through your head, Republicans. Stop being so damn principled. Get out there, vote early. And an absentee, a ballot isn't the end of the world. If you deliver the ballot, if you hand-deliver the ballot to your Board of Elections, you literally drive to your Board of Elections and hand it in. Don't trust the mail with it. And then you'll beat the Democrats at their own game. We need to unite. I'm hearing too many people saying, no way am I voting early because it's not right. Well, it's going to be right. It has to be right today. You've got to vote early.
Yeah, they've changed the rules of the game. You're right, Dennis, and it's either play under the new rules or you continue to lose. And so, look, you're still voting in person. You can still, when you early vote, you can ask for a paper ballot. You have the option to either do the machine or the paper ballot. So go early, vote on paper. And that, you're right, it does remove the possibility of someone voting in your name.
The earlier the better.
Yeah, and the other is, I'm not a big mail-in ballot fan, never have been, never will be. I understand for the military and et cetera, it's a necessity. But if you do have that option, you're right, hand-deliver that thing and do not put it in the mail.
Exactly. Right? They're part of it. They're part of the problem.
All right, Dennis,
and
great.
Thank you for having Jay Valentine on the other day. He really upset me, though. I'm all over this stuff. But when he says,
is your group doing any work with Jay?
Yeah, well, I get emails from Jay about the different meetings that I've been at his meetings on Zoom. The Zoom meetings are becoming ridiculous here, 4 a week. But no, we know Jay Valentine. And when I turn your TV, radio on here, and I heard him talking and giving us all this bad news about the swing states, I was upset for the rest of the day. Hey.
Yeah, a lot of people were, and that's why I did it. I did it so that you wake up. We have 82 days to go, and anybody sitting on their keister, there's too much at stake in this election.
Wake up and do something. And what people can do, if you can't get into an organization, I threw the vote with my computer. I belong to an organization, but the point is that you can donate to Judicial Watch. These people are out there, and they're suing states to get dead people off the rolls. They got $40 million off the rolls so far, but they need money for these lawsuits. Send them $100. you do so watch in Washington, look up the address with your computer.
Yeah, they're good. True the Vote.
Send them some money.
True the Vote, Catherine Engelbrecht, who is a friend of the show, and do whatever you can. Dennis, thanks so much. It's an excellent call. Appreciate your work and bringing that to attention. All right, we don't have time to get to lock down Larry today. We'll save him for tomorrow, and his unbelievable, again, hubris and hypocrisy on prescription drugs. It just, when I heard this, it just made my blood boil. And I'll save you that, because a lot of folks here had their blood boil when Jay Valentine was on the other day. I can't imagine why.